Have you ever scrolled through your phone at 11 p.m. and felt like you're the only one not figuring it out? Like everyone else got the manual and you're just out here guessing? Here's what nobody tells you. You're not behind because you're lazy. You're behind because you've been fed a steady diet of financial despair designed to keep you clicking, scrolling, and buying courses from people who've never built wealth themselves. But here's the thing. There's a reason they want you to feel hopeless. Because hopelessness is profitable. Rage gets clicks, and despair keeps you locked in place. So let me ask you something. What if the economy in 2026 isn't actually unprecedented? What if the American dream isn't actually dead? What if you're not actually powerless, you've just been lied to? Let me tell you a story from 1982 that will completely change how you see your financial situation. In 1982, a guy named Larry called into a radio show. He was furious. He said the system was broken, that his generation had been robbed, that the American dream was over. Sound familiar? Here's what Larry was living through. Inflation was sitting at 12.4%. Mortgage rates had skyrocketed to 17.66%, and unemployment had climbed over 10%. If Larry wanted to buy a house, his mortgage payment would eat 35% of his household income. Credit cards were charging 18 to 22% interest. Gas had tripled in price. The economic anxiety was so severe that people genuinely believed America's best days were behind it. Larry was convinced his generation had missed the boat. Fast forward to today, you can get a 15-year fixed mortgage for around 5%. Inflation's cooling, unemployment is historically low, and yet it feels worse, doesn't it? Here's why. The noise is louder than the reality. In 1982, Larry couldn't doomscroll financial disaster porn at 11 p.m. He couldn't watch TikToks telling him the system is rigged. He couldn't rage follow accounts that monetize his anxiety. So what did Larry do? He turned off the noise. He made a plan, he followed it. And 40 years later, Larry retired a multimillionaire. Not because his generation had it easier, because he refused to let the noise dictate his actions. My name is James, and I've spent years studying why some people break through financially while others stay stuck in the same patterns forever, complaining about the same problems, blaming the same villains, getting the same results. And here's what I've learned. The difference isn't circumstances. It's not even discipline. It's whether you have a map. If you're tired of feeling lost and want to understand the actual system that works regardless of what the economy is doing, hit that subscribe button. And if this video helps you see through the noise, give it a thumbs up so more people can find it. Now, let me give you that map, because once you see it, everything changes. If you feel financially lost, it's because you don't have a map. You've been trying to navigate a hurricane with no compass. No wonder you're exhausted. Here's the map. It's called the 7 Baby Steps, and millions of people have used it to go from broke to financially free. The first step is to save $1,000 fast. Not $5,000, not a comfortable cushion, exactly $1,000. Why? Because life happens. Your car breaks down, your laptop dies, your insurance deductible comes due, and when that happens, you need cash so you don't spiral back into debt. This is your starter emergency fund. It won't solve every problem, but it stops the bleeding. Next, you must pay off all debt except your house using the debt snowball. List your debts smallest to largest. And here's the controversial part. Ignore the interest rates. Attack the smallest balance first. When it's gone, roll that payment into the next one. This isn't about math. It's about momentum. It's about proving to yourself that you can win. Because when you knock out that first debt, even if it's just $300, something shifts in your brain. You go from I'm drowning to I can actually do this. Then comes baby step 3, which is to build a full emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. This is where everything changes, because now you've got breathing room, real stability. You're not one surprise expense away from chaos. After that, you move into baby steps 4, 5, 6, and 7. Here, you invest 15% for retirement. You save for your kids' college. You pay off your house early. And finally, you build wealth and give generously. Notice what comes first? Stability. Not investing, not side hustles, not crypto, not get-rich-quick schemes. Stability. Because you can't build wealth on a foundation of debt and chaos. You need solid ground first. Now, here's the tool that makes it all work. A budget. And I don't mean some vague idea of where your money goes. I mean a zero-based budget where every dollar has a name before the month starts. You sit down, you look at your income, and you assign every single dollar a job. Rent gets $1,200. Groceries get $600. Gas gets $150. Your debt payment gets $400. You keep going until you hit zero. Income minus expenses equals zero. This is not restrictive. This is freedom. Because a budget isn't about what you can't do. It's about telling your money what to do instead of wondering where it went. And here's the game changer. Track your spending every single day. Not once a week, not when you feel like it, every day. Because awareness changes behavior. The moment you start tracking, you stop bleeding money on stuff you don't even remember buying. That $4 coffee becomes visible. That impulse Target run shows up on paper. Those subscriptions you forgot about suddenly can't hide. Here's a stat that should wake you up. The average person who starts using a detailed budgeting system like EveryDollar finds $3,115 in the first 30 days. Not from a raise, not from a side hustle, from stopping the leaks. Think about that. $3,000 just sitting in your life, leaking out through subscriptions, delivery fees, impulse purchases, and things you can't even remember. Let me show you what happens when you redirect that money. Before we go further, let's kill the myths that are keeping you stuck. The biggest myth that you know is that millionaires inherit their money, which is not true at all. 89% of millionaires are self-made. They didn't get a trust fund, they got disciplined. And here's the kicker, 93% of them use a budget. Not because they're cheap, because they're intentional. They know every dollar goes. The wealthy aren't wealthy because they have more money. They're wealthy because they control their money instead of letting it control them. And the second myth that's been sold to you is that debt is normal. And of course it is normal, but normal is broken. Americans are carrying $1.23 trillion in credit card debt right now. The average car payment is $748 a month. That's almost $8,000 a year going to a depreciating asset. Normal people are broke. Normal people are stressed. Normal people retire on Social Security and hope. Don't be normal. Now, let me show you the concept that changes everything. Margin. Imagine you're in an elevator. It's packed, shoulder to shoulder. You can barely breathe. You're pressed against strangers. Every floor that passes feels claustrophobic. That's your budget when every dollar is spoken for, or worse, when you're spending more than you make. But what happens when people start getting off? Suddenly, you've got room. You can move. You can breathe. The pressure's off. That's margin. Margin is the difference between surviving and thriving. It's the gap between your income and your expenses. And when you don't have it, every single day feels like being trapped in that packed elevator. There are two ways to create margin. First, there's one-time margin. You sell the car you can't afford. You sell the boat you use twice a year. You sell the stuff in your garage you haven't touched in 3 years. You turn your clutter into cash and create immediate breathing room. And there's monthly margin. You cut the subscriptions you don't use. You cook at home instead of DoorDash. You stop financing your lifestyle on credit cards. You find the $260, $400, $600 per month that's leaking out. That every dollar stat I mentioned, $3,115 in the first 30 days. That's about $260 per month. What could you do with an extra $260 every single month? Pay off debt faster, build your emergency fund, start investing. Stop living in that packed elevator. Margin is breathing room. Margin is options. Margin is power. And every wealthy person you know has it. Every broke person you know doesn't. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Meet Jade and Sam Warshaw. They did everything right according to normal people. They took out student loans for college, they got car loans because everyone has one, they bought a mortgage they could technically afford, and they woke up one day with $460,000 in debt. Not because they were reckless, because they were normal. They decided normal wasn't working, so they stopped listening to the culture and started following the baby steps. Here's what they actually did. In month 1, they wrote a zero-based budget and found $1,300 in monthly margin. Subscriptions they forgot about, eating out constantly, a gym membership no one used, cable packages they barely watched. By month 2, they'd saved their $1,000 emergency fund. It took 6 weeks of scraping together every extra dollar, but they did it. In month 4, they started attacking their smallest debt with that $1,300 of monthly margin, a $2,400 credit card balance, gone in less than 2 months. The moment that debt disappeared, something changed. They weren't just budgeting anymore, they were winning. By month 8, they sold the boat they used twice a year and added $18,000 to their debt snowball. They paid off 3 more debts in one shot. In month 11, Sam took a weekend side gig delivering pizzas. He hated every second of it. Did it anyway. It brought in an extra $900 per month. By year 2, they'd paid off $87,000 in debt. All the small stuff was gone. They could see real progress. For the first time in their adult lives, they felt like they were in control. In year 3, they built their full emergency fund, 6 months of expenses. This is when everything shifted psychologically. Sam negotiated a $12,000 raise. Why? Because he wasn't afraid to walk away. He had margin. He had options. Jade took a calculated career risk that doubled her income over 2 years. She could take that risk because she had a foundation underneath her. By year 5, they were completely debt-free except the house. $460,000 gone. Not because they got lucky, not because the economy improved, because they treated their financial situation like the crisis it was. Today, they're investing 15% of their income, they've got a paid-for vacation fund, and they're on track to pay off their house in 7 years. That's what happens when you stop being normal. Here's the reality most people live in. There's state 1, which is chaos. Bills overdue, creditors calling, panic mode. Every day is a financial emergency. Then there's state 2, which is temporary calm. Everything's fine until the next emergency hits, and then you're back in chaos. It's a cycle. You never escape. Most people bounce between these 2 states their entire lives. But there's a third option. State 3 is financial peace. That's when you're flying above the storm. You've got margin, you've got a plan, you've got options. And when life throws a curveball, because it will, you don't spiral, you adjust. Your car breaks down? Annoying, not catastrophic. Your hours get cut? You've got 6 months of expenses saved. You adjust. That's the goal. Not perfection, not being rich, just peace. Peace is being able to sleep at night. Peace is not checking your bank account with dread. Peace is knowing that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. And peace is available to you right now. Not in 5 years, not when the economy gets better. Right now. You just have to choose it. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You will never have perfect conditions. The market will never be just right. Your job will never be totally secure. The economy will never feel safe. There will always be a reason to wait. But waiting is how you lose a decade. Every generation has someone like Larry calling into a radio show saying it's impossible, that the system is rigged, that the American dream is dead. And every generation has people who ignore that noise and build wealth anyway. A man with an experience is not at the mercy of a man with an opinion. The people shouting on TikTok that the system is rigged, most of them haven't built anything. They're monetizing your fear. They're selling you despair because despair gets clicks. The people quietly winning? They started, they stuck with it, and they didn't let the noise stop them. You know what separates them? Not circumstances, not luck, not privilege. They started. That's it. They turned off the noise and started. Let me tell you something about discipline that the gurus won't say. The conditions will never be conducive to doing what's uncomfortable. You will never feel like budgeting. You will never feel like cutting expenses. You will never feel like selling your car and driving something older. You just have to do it anyway. Because discipline isn't comfortable. It requires sacrifice. It means saying no to things other people say yes to. It means cooking at home while your friends DoorDash. It means driving a paid-for car while your coworkers lease new ones. It means skipping the vacation so you can kill the debt. And for a while, it will feel like you're missing out. But here's what happens. 5 years from now, you're going to be somewhere. You're either going to be in the same spot you're in right now, scrolling the same doom scroll content, complaining about the same problems, stuck in the same financial chaos, or you're going to be debt-free, with a full emergency fund, with margin, with options, with peace. And the choice is yours. And you make that choice today, right now, not next week, not when things get better, but today. All right. You've made it this far. That means something in you still believes you can win. So here's what you do, starting tonight. First, stop consuming financial despair content. Unfollow the doomers, stop hate scrolling. Protect your mind. Because if you fill your head with hopelessness, you'll never take action. The algorithm profits from your rage. Don't feed it.
Second, write a zero-based budget tonight. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. List your income, list your expenses, assign every dollar a job, and tomorrow track every single transaction. Third, find your margin. Look at your budget and ask, what can I cut? Not forever, just for now, just to get ahead. Sell something, cancel something, cook instead of ordering out, find the breathing room. And fourth, start baby step 1. Save $1,000 as fast as you possibly can. Work overtime, sell stuff you don't use, skip unnecessary expenses, get that emergency fund in place so the next crisis doesn't derail everything. This is not theory, this is not inspiration, this is a proven system that has worked for millions of people in every economic condition imaginable. It worked in 1982 when mortgage rates were 17%. It worked in 2008 during the housing crisis. It worked in 2020 during a global pandemic, and it will work for you in 2026. Remember that feeling at 11 p.m., scrolling your phone, convinced the system is rigged against you? Here's the truth. The economy isn't broken. The American dream isn't dead. You've just been lied to by people who profit from your fear. Larry faced 17% mortgage rates and double-digit unemployment. He built wealth anyway. Jade and Sam faced $460,000 in debt. They won anyway. You can face 2026 and win anyway, but you have to choose it. Choose discipline over despair. Choose facts over fear. Choose progress over comfort. Choose action over anger. The people screaming that it's impossible, they're selling you something. The people quietly building wealth, they stopped listening and started doing. So turn off the noise, write the budget, find the margin, start baby step 1. Because 5 years from now, you'll either thank yourself or you'll wish you had started today. Normal sucks, and you were built for way more than normal, so start immediately. And if this video helped you cut through the noise, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.